Blessed love and peace. This is almost like a YouTube live. I just posted what I just recorded a second ago before the phone call came through. So finishing up the thing, just how we are valued at a young age, middle school, and how, like, again, those elementary school kind of likes and dislikes and crushes and whatever else, first loves, how it gets serious in middle school, particularly, and to understand like how that happens, like what how are we valued in a very like real world, like no holds barred, no punches pulled kind of way. Like how do the sistren actually value the brethren, and start competing to get the brethren who's most coveted, and same thing with brethren searching for sistren. It didn't change too much. It's pretty nice. That's pretty much it. Seriously, no, that's what else is there. Pretty and nice. She ain't got to cook at that point. Middle school, she could. That's positive, to be honest. But anyway, that's anyway. Um, we ain't got to reminisce too tough. So, recognizing how we are valued at that age, and then how that affects us, because that's when everything is established. I mean, people talk about Jesuit maximum: give me the child to the age of 7, I'll give you the man. And that there's truth to that. But then particularly there's something like gets concreted in middle school with when the puberty hits, and then that's when like the paths start to get like entrenched, and sexuality, politics, economics, religiosity, and otherwise. Like this is that's when things kind of like just like happen, um, and the valuation of how we're evaluated, how we are valued, as potential or as prospective spouses is a significant factor, in our behavior, in our proclivities, our affinities, what we want to do, what we want to study, who we want to be, and otherwise. So it's beneficial to recognize how we are valued by the sistren, for us men, and by the brethren for the sistren, by the parents, what the parents say to the children, in terms of preparing that type of socialization. There's formalities in terms of the bar mitzvah, quinceañera. I'm thinking like conciliary, but the cincere, wow, that's 100 years. Come on, let's get off the Corleones. Um, the cotillions, the debutantes, the quinceañera, yeah, that's what it is. Sweet 16s, that's the sweet 15 though, and otherwise. So, um, how all of that significantly like establishes our worldview, our politics. Like when students start activism, this is when the activist scene happens. When students start doing discovery of LGBTQ, this is the grounds of when it happens, substantially, and the entrenchments that occur from that point, high school. Because once kinfolk get out of high school, that's like a lot has been established. I mean, there's still a lot of formation, particularly for late bloomers and otherwise. I was a late bloomer, um, but once first of all, once kinfolk graduated out of high school, in a very modest estimation, modest meaning like a very terse estimation, but very safe in our estimation. Most many kinfolk are not virgins any further. Now that's again when a woman gives her heart away, it's done by any man she's with. Either again, as I said before, he's got to break the first brethren or abide by the first brethren's way of being. She's gone. Her heart is already with somebody else. I mean that's not like the end of days kind of situation. Like she can still be married and love her husband and children, and additionally, but there's like it's not that first thing. So, and it's not the whole thing. It's there's always like in the back of anyway. All right, that's from high school, and that guides a woman in what she wants, what she studies, what she does, where she works, where she travels, and otherwise in life. So, by the time we get into life, after high school, after university, and additionally, like we just compound. We tend to just simply compound our coping mechanisms from those tender years of middle school. So when we go back to that stage of life and all the pain we revisit in that path back to that stage, to recognize like what was shaping me during that period, like what was I going through, who was influencing me for better and for worse, how did I like start, what did I think about myself and why did I think that way, why was I so confident, or why was I so insecure and otherwise. And then again, in a relationship, I'm working this, I'm processing this as I continue to work on being married, and think about these. Because again, what precipitates this particularly is in interacting with young sisters at the moment who are still at university age and at thereabouts, even teenage years. This is the life, and this is who has the open-mindedness to be in a relationship with kinfolk such as myself. And so, like, what are the expectations? What are the requirements that sistren have? What is the conditioning that sistren are experienced? What are sistren taught to expect and to command, to demand from a husband and otherwise? And some sistren have very strong ideas. Some sistren have very loose ideas. Some sistren have no interest. Some sistren have all interests. That's nothing. I'm not saying anything with that. But just like what for each sister, where's her what is her perspective, her view, and where does that come from? And in interacting with sisters who are at university, I observe that a lot of the culture is very similar to private school education that I grew up in. When I was in high school, I was out the loop. I was out in high school. I was out. I went to home. I might as well have been homeschooled. Could it be? I went to high school, and then I stayed home and did nothing. I watched TV. I studied life. I studied civilization, society, and tried to figure out things. And it wasn't as noble as that, but that was just like it was an escapism. It was a learning tool. It was a social environment, because kinfolk weren't on the same kind of thing I'm on. And there are a number of kinfolk who experienced that, but that's the nature of life. Prophets of old, similar thing. Didn't have TV, but had caves. Same thing. So high school, the social programming, and additionally, I was out. There wasn't even any prospects. Too tough. Senior year was about that time when people had gone through their love triangles and everything, and so they weren't, like, things were playing themselves out. People were going in their different paths in life, leaving the city, not planning to see each other again, and so it's like, who do you still talk with by the end of high school? And kinfolk still talk to me, because I didn't get enveloped in any of those things. I lusted after all of the sistren, but I didn't get caught up. I didn't do anybody dirty per se, directly. So kinfolk still cool with me. And that then at that point it's like, well, there were a few occasions of like sistren looking at me like, well, you know what, maybe Peter. But me, too insecure, too shy, too focused on leaving, to take anything seriously, too lustful, to be honest, to treat a woman respectfully, maybe too stingy on my money, because I knew if I'm gonna do like treat a woman like I want to treat a woman, it's gonna be a lot of expensive. And like, it's 2 months left of school. It's gonna be a whole lot of expensive for very little, like, I'm trying to think of who I'm sounding like. Anyways, so I didn't no dates in high school. Now when we get to college, actually, to be honest, didn't do too much dating in college. To be honest, it wasn't a scene. We lived off in the cut, home by the sea. But I will say, in terms of being valued, sister much stronger valued me at university, because it's a very distinctive thing. We talk about the ratio of 8 to 1. That was back on my day. I can imagine it's only like 12, 16 to 1, 16 women, 16 sistren for every one brethren at university. It was 8 to 1 when I was in school, and that was 30 years ago. 30 years ago. 30 años. So given the fact that the trends, so that means like there's a lot of women who are competing to be in a relationship with the dude. And so very attractive, very intelligent, very pretty. I say pretty, very nice sister, who are motivated and see value. Oh, here's the brethren. He's going to be professional. He's going to have a nice salary. He's going to have a nice house, nice education, nice network, security, has some manners, knows how to act in certain situations or whatever else, compatible with the family. Family's going to be happy. Boom, boom, boom. High value. I'm not trying to do the whole brethren's spiel or whatever, but sister and value be high for being a professional and the things that I want, many of the things that I wanted to be valued for at that time. But didn't have a lot of the maybe it's too close and it's just uncomfortable. um, anyway, I'm not gonna get into a whole like relationship situation about university. Point was like to look at how we are valued and how that shapes how we think ourselves, how we value ourselves, and how we develop our path at a young age, and how that becomes further reinforced very often. And oftentimes, if we're feeling like pigeonholed or going off course or whatever else, there are the occasions of us doing a dolo thing, going on a trip by ourselves, changing it up and going to a school in another place, getting a job in another place, another state, another country, and like being alone for a while and like just like figuring out life and trying to get outside of what everybody else is doing, the whole social sphere. I grew up outside of a specific kind of like group kind of experience. We have family, friends. A lot of it comes from my father's experience of just him being very outgoing or whatever. But what I observe, particularly at university and even in grad school, is that some people just like have cliques that they grow up with, that there's cousins, and extended family and neighbors and people in the community, whether it's a religious community, ethnic community, whatever else. But like, and that's how kinfolk socialize. Always have a girlfriend, always have a boyfriend, always in a relationship. About to get married, eventually, maybe 5 years. But everything is like planned out, and have to and at the same time have to keep up appearances, have to go to all the functions, have to support everybody, have to have gifts, have to have the right clothes, have to keep up to snuff with what everybody else is doing. And when I observed that, I just felt like that was a lot of. I'm not trying to get into this. I feel like people. Yeah. Anyway, that's another top topic, another conversation, and it would be nice to get some food. So, um, I would observe kinfolk who are like in that group scene, like rolling deep to parties, rolling deep at school, and always had the social network. Always had things going over, and additionally, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a beautiful experience, and I feel very. I said feel again. I remember being very grateful for being included in these things, and even as a prospective member of that, each a number of different groups, particularly through my law school years. Because again, in law school, there's that value for being in law school. It's prestigious and like elite, and now it's like distinctive in terms of society. And so it becomes, and again, it's in a multi-ethnic kind of experience in terms of a number of different ethnicities. So still a laborer in society, a white-collar laborer, and high pressure, high stakes, high expenses, and high stress, and always again got to keep up in that realm in order to stay viable and whatever else. So, but at the same time, lots of prospects in terms of relationship and women of having interest in women who are very attractive, very intelligent. Can't say, I'm not going to say not nice, but not as nice as the women in at university, because women in university are younger, softer, not as hardened by the academic rigor. And by rigor, I'm talking about recognize university. I've talked about it as a luxury ship, and additionally, but in actuality, like university is warfare. Like I won't say warfare. University is training people for warfare. That's actuality. If you just think about corporations as the modern day, the postmodern day raids of competition and like nasty competition, and the students at university being prepared to enter into that. Now, in today's civilization, there's a whole lot of PR in these pirate ships. There's a whole lot of public relations. There's a whole lot of social, like welfare programming, or social work, perhaps is one way of describing it. But the vast amount of kinfolk, particularly in the leading industries that students are being prepared to enter into it as a workforce, as a vocation, it's warfare. Plain and simple, it's warfare. And the tactics are warfare. Straight up, no cap, 100%. So, and people are competing, particularly in law school, and additionally, people are competing against each other as soldiers, ninjas against each other. So it's difficult to cultivate a relationship, like a gentle, like masculine, feminine, strong and nurturing kind of complementary experience at that academic stage, because the sistren are warriors. The sistren are ninjas, and attractive, intelligent, funny, get the jokes, conversational, amazing. I won't say friends with benefit because that's very demeaning and degrading and disrespectful, but that's what it is. To be honest, women historically and generally, women abstain from having the same like conversational things and not trying to have that. Women focus on other things. So when men get accustomed and conditioned to expect women to be able to like have a conversation and be a best friend, that's a whole lot asking from a woman. And it's not an insult. Women have tremendous higher intelligence. It's not a matter of women can't be able to do that. If it's a lot of work, it's like, yo, she already doing enough. She don't need to be like keeping up to date with what's going on, this, that, and the other. And you talk about that with whoever you talk about that with. So, anyway, all right. We're talking about value. That's some of it. I'm gonna leave it out there because I'm trying to get to the show before it closes. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else here. Wadi, this is unprecedented. Abbreviation. Abbreviation. Ooh, abbreviation. Oh no, not again. I got to go. I don't understand. Abbreviation. That was Rod Stewart, just in case people were trying to figure it out. Talked about the botanical world debate. Talking about the demons and angels. You know what we're going to say? We're going to say all things are praised to the Most High Elohim, blessed love and peace of Rastafari.